Hello everyone and welcome to this month's episode of Princess Auto's See It Work, the show where you get to see our product live in action. I'm your host Matt, and with me as always is Derek, and in today's episode we are going to be talking about RV accessories from Camco. If this is your first time joining us or you've been with us before, please feel free to ask us a question in the comments section and you can be entered to win a prize pack. Today's prize pack is going to be an RV accessory pack featuring some of the items we're talking about here today. We would also like to thank Camco for joining us in the comments section to help us answering some of the questions, as well as donating some of the prizes that are going to be in the package today. So Derek, we got a lot of products here to talk about. Where do you want to start first?
Well, I guess this time of year, everybody's thinking about getting the camper ready and out of storage. Manitoba, we're not quite there yet. It's still winter here. But some of the things we'll talk about to start, I think, are just kind of refreshing the camper and getting it set up for a new season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so off to the left side of the table here, we've got a few items. We have the RV roof vent cover. And I'm actually going to be installing one of these on my pop-up trailer this year. Really handy to keep the rain out of that vent if you have it open and you happen to be away from the camper down at the beach or on a walk or something like that. So we'll take a look at that.
Excellent, that sounds good.
Yeah, and we've got the RV step rug, which is nice to keep the inside of the camper clean. Your in and out travel, spring adjust so it fits a different fitment of steps involved. Yep.
Oh, very nice.
And then just in cleaning, kind of getting everything as fresh looking as we can, we've got some black streak remover and the awning cleaner. Really easy products to use. They work really well. So something to kind of tidy everything up.
Very nice.
And when we're actually setting up at the campsite, we're going to have our RV stabilizer jack pads. We're going to talk about those. Just to kind of get a support base so you're not walking around and the camper is shifting all over the place. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And to that end, when you get to the campsite, not every campsite's as level as it looks on the photos when you book it. We've got some levels here. So really simple, just apply to the trailer and just get everything set up as level as possible to make it as comfortable as possible. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then a touch on RV electrical. We've got one of the adapter cords that we have here. This is the 15 to 30 amp cord, just for applications, maybe a campground that doesn't have 30 amp power, or if you're hooking up at home to kind of keep the fridge going and keep everything fresh inside.
Excellent, that sounds good.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of product to go through here today, so let's start talking a little bit more about this roof vent cover here.
Absolutely, yeah. So this is a really quick and easy install, and it fits kind of a range of sizes of vents. There's a small hardware kit with 4 brackets and the fasteners to attach it to the roof vent. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to open up your roof vent. You're going to lay down the bracketry kind of approximately where you're going to want to put it. Put the roof vent cover down over top of that so you can kind of see where everything lines up. Mark your holes, and the brackets are actually going to get drilled and installed onto the lip of the vent. So they're not, into the top of the camper for leaks or anything.
Yeah.
And then the cover actually just bolts to that. So there is a small air gap around the bottom. It doesn't have to be sealed to the bottom. It helps, with keeping debris out and water and that kind of thing.
Yeah, but keeping it breathable at the same time.
Exactly, yeah. There's at the back, if we want to show the back of it here, we have a grill panel that is removable and just 2 screws and it pops down. There is a mesh in here to keep out insects and debris. If you do happen to get something, blow underneath the lid, 2 screws, pop it open. You can clean it out for storing it for the winter, and nice aerodynamic shape. So when you're driving down the highway, it's not going to be, buffeting or anything like that.
Yeah, you can see it there.
Yep.
Nice.
Exactly. And you can have, if you've got a couple vents, you can put one on each vent. We've just got the one on ours, so I'm just going to install that. And we were caught a couple years ago on a camping trip where we had the vent up. We weren't at the camper, and a little bit of rain got in, not too much, but just peace of mind, right? If you want to leave the vent open, if it's nice and warm out that day, but it could be a rainstorm coming, you never know. It takes the worry out of it.
Absolutely. You always want to make sure you're covered.
Exactly. Nice.
Whoop. All right. How about the next one here?
Sure.
The RV step rug.
Yeah, and that's pretty straightforward. So a big thing is trying to keep the camper clean with kids and dogs and everything running in and out. If you have, one step, two steps, whatever the case is, these guys slide right over top. If you turn it around, Matt, we'll be able to show them the springs. It does come with the springs to attach it. There's a kind of a range of sizing that you can work with these. I believe it's 8 to 10 inches deep and 21 inches wide. And just basically hooks onto that step. Last wipe of your feet when you go in and out of the trailer. And nice and clean.
Yeah, I don't want to be tracking mud into your RVs.
That's
and
right.
As we all know, mats are the best thing out there.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm on a roll
You
today.
are on a roll,
I'm on a roll
absolutely.
today. All right, so let's see what else we got here.
Sure.
What about the cleaning product?
Yeah, so we've got black streak remover and the awning cleaner. So, pretty straightforward. The black streak remover, you're going to see, if the RVs are parked outside for, a long time and they maybe haven't been maintained, or, maybe some streaking from some of the weather stripping on the RV. You spray the cleaner on, a sponge or a microfiber cloth, and wipe away, give it a quick rinse, and that's pretty much it. If it's a really tough stain, or you buy a used trailer that hasn't been maintained properly, you might need a couple goes at it, but it'll clean it up in short order. And the same with the awning cleaner. Awning, your vinyl, any exterior type of fabric on an RV or a camper, you give it a light scrub with maybe a soft bristle brush or a sponge, and again, rinse it off. You're going to put, with the RV cleaner, or the awning cleaner I should say, bucket of water, maybe 4 ounces in a gallon, something like that. And give it a quick clean and then rinse it off, and looking good.
All right, so this would work with something like a RV cover or the tire covers as well?
Yep, the tire covers to protect it from the sun. Yeah, keep them clean so it's just in good shape, right?
Yeah, it's always good to get that multi-use out of there for our chemicals.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, looking good here. How about we look a little bit at the stabilizing jack pads here? These look pretty interesting.
Yeah, those are neat. So, you get to the campsite, you want to set everything up. This comes in a pack of 4, and it's got a nice little Velcro strap here to keep everything contained. They actually nest together. They've got a little bit of a ridge around the edge of them. So they do stack, kind of like this.
Very nice.
Yep. And then, basically just drop it down. The pad goes down from the stabilizing jack, and a lot of people do think that it goes down like this. So you'd put the grid face down. Actually, you want to have it the flat face down on the ground.
Oh, okay.
And that's going to help stop any kind of sinking action that you're going to get if it happens to be a little soft. Maybe the gravel's a little bit soft, had some rain or something like that. And that's going to distribute the load just fine. There are some 6-inch stands. It's about a 6-inch square here that would be able to support. Some of the older pop-ups have stands that are separate. Most of the newer campers have ones that are attached. And you drop them down. And when you're ready to go, pick them up, put the strap back on it, throw them in the camper or in the vehicle, and you're off to the races.
Yeah. Wow, look at that.
Absolutely.
Learning something new every day.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we can learn something new here, but what can we learn about the level here?
So this is really straightforward stuff. When you get down to it and you're stabilizing the jack on each corner of your RV, you want to make sure that it's level. It's not comfortable to sleep on an uneven surface. You might have a dip in the back corner of the side, one side of a parking pad. So with the level, you can level top and side of unit, and it's very straightforward. There's a couple of screw holes there. You can keep one if you want to just throw it on the top if you're trying to do a quick level job, park in the driveway or something like that. Really straightforward and very handy. There's a bunch of different types of levels, but that standard type of level is really easy to spot. You can get your kids to help you, tell them watch for the bubble in the circle. They can say good to go, and then you can stop jacking the trailer up.
Yeah, very nice, easy accessory to get.
That's right.
We got the last one over here to look at, which is the electrical adapter.
Yeah, so this is really handy. Again, so some of the campsites that you're going to go to won't have a 30 amp service, which is pretty common for most of the campsites, 30, 50 amp services for some of the bigger units. So the 15 amp circuit, common household circuit like you're going to have in your walls in your garage, it's going to have that kind of, 3-prong like you'd have on an extension cord. And then of course the standard 30 amp RV outlet end that you're going to have on the cord. And this is the power grip, so it's got the nice handle there for locking everything in nice and tight. Basically, you're going to plug this into the wall and put your RV cord onto that. If you're parking at home and you want to keep some food in the fridge, if you're going out for another trip maybe later in the week, some things you have in the freezer maybe, you can keep that running, keep a battery tender going, those kind of things. Or like at home, if we're not camping, the kids like to sleep outside in the camper, hook it up and they have lights, they've got the fan if they need it, that kind of thing. Very handy to have. And there's a range of adapters that we have. This is just one of them. There's too many to bring in. We didn't want to run that long.
No, it's good to know that Princess Auto carries a much bigger selection.
That's right.
So for anybody who is just joining us right now, we are talking about RV accessories from Camco. If you have any questions regarding this product, please feel free to add it in our comment section, and you could be entered to win an RV accessory prize package. So we're going to actually take some of those questions right now, and we'll see what we can answer here.
Yeah.
So Robert Looker is asking, would the RV package work with a Volkswagen van wagon?
The RV, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things you can use. I mean, you can clean the outside of a vehicle with the cleaner. If it happens to be one of the older Volkswagens, maybe with the pop-up roof, has the canvas on it, the awning, you can clean that as well. And depending on how you have it set up, some people retrofit some of the campers. They have a higher power, maybe an air conditioning unit in it. The adapter will work for that. Yeah, so there's a range of items here that'll work for it. Yeah.
Excellent, that's good to know. Diana Derbyshire is asking, what's a good chemical to use in gray water to help break down toilet paper?
Well, the RV toilet paper that we have does break down quickly in the tanks, but there are drop-ins you can get to kind of aid in that. It's for someone who's going on-site camping or maybe traveling and say a motorhome where you don't have to stop to go to the bathroom. You can use it there at a rest stop or something like that. Yeah, I mean, there's chemicals to drop in and freshen up the area. It's not going to have an odor to it, and also help everything break down. But the RV toilet paper does break down quite easily, and that's really a kind of key to have on the campsite.
It's very true. Yeah, that toilet paper is very important.
Yep.
We have another question here from Tom. Do we sell the trailer stands? I believe the holding stands or like a trailer jack stand?
Well, we have the trailer tongue jacks. We don't have any stabilizer jacks like the old style of pop-up campers had the stabilizer jacks that would kind of fit into here. But we do have the trailer tongue jacks. We have manual and powered ones. So a good selection of those. Yep.
That's good. Another one here from Rick Harper. Are there different size jack pads that we sell?
Not that we sell. There are available, but not that we sell. In our assortment, we have this as kind of a standard size. There are some larger ones. They come in pairs for heavier pieces of equipment, but we do have just the 6-inch ones.
All right. Yep. Another one here from Alan Ashton asking, are the cleaning products biodegradable?
That's a good question. Maybe our Camco experts can jump into the chat and answer that for us.
That's good. Yeah, that would be very helpful. Thanks, Camco. Yeah. We'll do a few more here before we move on. John is asking, do you have something to level the trailer, or do you have to use the 2 supports that are under the wheel?
So typically the trailer would be leveled with the equipment that would come with it. At the point where that piece of equipment is located on the trailer would be the optimum spot that the engineers would decide. So you could level elsewhere with blocks of wood or something if it was going to be more of a permanent kind of installation at a campsite where you're going to maybe build a deck off of it or something like that. But realistically, if it's just a camp, you're going there for a weekend or a week or something like that, the equipment that's on the vehicle is kind of what you're going to use to stabilize everything.
That sounds good.
Yep.
Got another question here from John Butcher asking, can the cleaner be used on the siding for a home? I assume he's looking at the cleaner here.
That's a good question. I couldn't see why it wouldn't. It is compatible with vinyl and typically vinyl siding on the house. But again, Camco might be able to, they might have run across that instance before. They could maybe help us out with that.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll take one more here before moving on. Darcy is asking, is everything here available individually? And are there different size roof pop-ups?
So everything that we have here is available in our assortment, and it is able to purchase individually. This is the only size vent cover that we do carry currently. Possibly in the future we might have something in a different size, but this is the only one currently that we have in our inventory. So.
All right, good stuff. Well, we'll still take some questions, so please feel free to send them in and you can be entered to win a prize package. But I'd say for now, let's move on to some more products. I see you got a whole bunch in front of you here, so I'd love to hear.
Yeah, I mean, we'll go through quickly what we've got here. So this is kind of going to be the freshwater setup, and then we'll get into just a quick issue with the sewer hose at the end. Nobody likes to deal with that, but we'll talk about it quickly. But when you get to the campsite and you're all set up and everything's leveled and stabilized, you want to hook up the water, right? So you want to have nice tasting water. So we've got, our RV water hose, marine RV application. We've got charcoal filters, pure taste. So it's going to clean up any kind of smell or odor that might be in there, take out some of the contaminants that are in the water. And into that same kind of vein, we've got a water pressure regulator and a 90-degree hose adapter. So with these guys here, the regulator is kind of important, and we'll touch on that in just a minute. And the adapter for the 90 degree is kind of going to be important when you get to hooking up the water hose, and it's going to have water in it. So the water is going to add some weight, put a filter on it. That's going to add more weight with water in it, of course. And that's going to take the strain off that hose coming right out and possibly kinking or damaging the hose.
Yeah.
Just a quick note, the filters do come with a small flexible hose to attach it to kind of take the strain off as well. So it's just going to be more beneficial to the system.
Yeah.
And eventually, we're going to have to, unfortunately, talk about winterizing a camper. And we have some options here for blowing out the air or blowing air into the water lines. So we've got a standard brass RV blowout plug. And we've got a 6-inch rubber hose attachment with a ball valve. So that's handy for closing off and doing different circuits in a larger motorhome perhaps. We'll touch base on that in a quick second. And with the winterizing in mind, you're going to be putting RV antifreeze into the water system as well. And this is a hand pump to be able to transfer out of the jug into the system really quickly. And we'll go through that when we talk about the blowout. Plugs. And the last item we've got here is one of the sewer hoses that we do carry. This is a 20-foot long kit with two 10-foot hoses and attachments and fittings. And like I say, we'll touch on that at the very end of it. Going to wrap up. So when we get to the site, we're going to want to hook up. Now, not every campsite has regulated water pressure, and in some cases it can be quite high.
Right.
So again, you've got some issues with anything over, say, 40, 50 pounds, which is what this regulator is set at. If you have 60, 70 or higher PSI in the system, it can be detrimental to some of the equipment that you're going to have in the camper. So this can screw on inline. It can be screwed on right at the tap. It can be screwed on right before the RV. Wherever you find it in line, it's as long as it's in line, it's going to help that pressure drop and keep it static. And the 90-degree adapter is basically, you're going to put this right on the unit, right at the camper. And then, it's going to screw in here. It's going to drop straight down at 90 degrees, give it some support, allow the hose to hang freely, and just take the danger of having a kink in there away. And then, you're going to have to go and try and figure out where the line is and what's interrupting it, where the water's coming out. Water hose, obviously very straightforward, very similar to a garden hose, but it has a very specific application for drinking water. And again, you can use it to fill up a freshwater tank in a boat, use it for your RV, and it's a quick swivel attachment to it, standard garden hose fittings. Again, to take the smell out of some of the water you're going to have, and of course the garden hose smell or the taste of the garden hose if you're going to get that in the system.
Yep.
Now these filters here, we'll pop the box open here. These are really handy because again, you're not sure where you're going to get the water from. If it's been any length of time, it's going to be a possibly a very smelly kind of a water coming out of it. So you're going to put these in line. There is a flow indicator right here. So there's an arrow here, flow out. So as long as the water is coming through here and going out that way. You're going to purge this for maybe 10, 15 seconds. You'll see the water run clear after. It's going to wash the carbon out because there is an activating carbon filter kind of material in there, and also another antibacterial component in here. When it's sitting static, it's not going to grow bacteria. It's going to keep that as fresh as possible. And there's a small note on the side here, a blank slate for writing out day, month, year when you put the filter in, just to kind of keep an eye on how long it's been there, because not everybody's got filters on the brain when they're going camping. They're doing other things, and they're just to keep an eye on how long that's going to be on the camper.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to want to make sure you have that fresh water.
That's right.
Yeah. So for anybody who is just joining us, we are talking about RV accessories today from Camco. We've got a whole bunch of great products lined up in front of us here. If you have any questions for Derek, please feel free to drop them in our comment section, and you can be entered to win an RV accessory prize pack, including some of these amazing products we're looking at right now. So we're going to go to some of those questions right now and see what we can answer here. So we have a question here from Michelle Simpson. Do you carry BAL levelers?
BAL. I'm not familiar with that. I don't believe we do. I don't think we have that in our inventory.
Okay. We've got another one here from Rusty Mingo. The chemical used for cleaning the black water runs off. Will that cause the sealant around the windows to break down more?
No.
Excellent.
It won't be caustic to the point where it's going to start breaking down either the weather stripping or the sealant. It's just strictly there to take off that kind of a tar or debris or anything that's kind of road debris that's on the camper, or of course the streaking from the weather stripping.
Right. Yeah. Okay, that
won't
makes
harm
sense.
the finish of the material either.
All right, we got another question here from Frank asking about the PSI. What is the PSI for water pressure? So I assume, what would we need for an RV?
So this is regulated down between 40 and 50 pounds, and that's exactly what you're going to need. No more, no less. If you roll into a site that has 70 pounds, if your system is that specific to needing 40 to 50 pounds, there could be damage. I mean, 20 pounds doesn't sound like a lot of extra pressure, but on top of the 40 or 50 already delivered, it can be a little bit stressful on some of the components in there.
Is that roughly about the water pressure at like your house on the spigot outside?
It depends on, if you're obviously on civic water or on a well, depending on where you're at. 70 pounds can be, reached in some cases in some civic systems.
Okay.
Typically a little bit lower, but you're in that range.
Yeah. Okay. We have another question here from John Butcher asking, do you have any on-tap water heaters?
No, we do not.
Oh, okay. So got a lot of product, just missing those few.
Yeah.
We got another one here. Can the home plug adapter be used with a battery tender over winter so as not to remove the batteries from the RV?
You could, as long as the connections are kind of kept as maybe waterproof as possible, if that makes sense. I wouldn't want the cord to be laying in the snow in case there was some melting or whatnot. But that's really one of the applications. It would be to kind of keep that tender topping the battery up. Although if it's very, very cold out, the output from the battery tender may not keep up with the demand to keep the battery as warm as possible, and this battery could still freeze.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Got another great question here from Jack Spaley. What's the best way to sanitize and maintain the sewer hose for putting them away?
Well, typically when you go to a drop station, and we can touch base, with the sewer hose here, you're going to have, at minimum at the station where you're going to be dumping, a garden hose and a sprayer. So quickly rinsing it. Commonly, you're not going to be cleaning it at the site. That would be more for something maybe when you get home and have a little bit more time to do that. There could be a lineup at some of the sites in some of the busier camp areas. But just basically giving it a quick rinse. Hosing typically is going to store in the RV bumpers. Okay. So you're going to remove the cap, slide the hosing in. There's going to be some cubbies where you might have a bin or a box to put some of the fittings in, and your gloves, you're going to be wanting to wear waterproof gloves when you're doing that kind of work. And then you can take a little bit more care and time at home to sanitize. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to do a few more questions here before moving on. We got some great questions here about the water filters, actually. Sure. So DH wants to know, are the water filters reusable, or do you throw them away after each use?
No, you'd be disposing of them.
Oh, okay. Yep. So they are disposable units.
That's right.
Great to know. Great to know. We got another one here from Rick Harper asking, how often should you change the water filters?
That, I knew we were going to get that question asked, and I'm going to rely on Camco. There might be a certain gallon kind of flow parameter that they set by, but again, it's like asking how long an air filter will last in a car. The dirtier the environment, the more use, the more time of running. Same thing, the more flow through the filter. If you only use it once or twice a season, it's probably going to last a lot longer. If you're using it all season at maybe a campsite where you have an RV hooked up all the time and you're using it, maybe a month at a time or going down there every weekend, it might be more of a seasonal change.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, and we got another question here from Dawn asking, does the 15 to 30 amp plug adapter have a power on indicator light?
I don't believe so. I don't see any indication here that would have. No, there is no LED indicating light on this guy.
Okay. And another one here from Jerry asking, do we carry any power surge protectors for RV?
We do not currently. No. Yep.
Always chance to get more though.
Popular question.
All right. Well, before we kind of wrap things up, is there any other kind of final tips on maintenance or things that we can look at doing for our RV?
I mean, we've got like we talked about, our blowout plugs and our antifreeze pumps. So with the blowout plugs, a standard air compressor, doesn't have to be anything really large, can be used on these guys here. They have an M-style fitting, which is the most common air fitting you're going to have. That might come with a kit of air fittings if you buy them, at Princess Auto, and or if you go and specifically want to build something on the end of a compressor line. It's just a straight M-style fitting, threads right in, garden hose fittings, and you're going to purge the water out of a system, you're going to do one tap at a time.
Right.
If you have a shower, that kind of thing. And this guy has a flexible hose on it and a ball valve, so you can turn it off. You don't have to run outside, turn the compressor back on, and you can have somebody cycling it off and on, or if you want to leave it charged. The benefit to that is it's going to purge as much of the water out, and then you're going to come up after with some RV antifreeze, and basically it's a hand pump, it's a transfer pump. So it's going to siphon out of the jug of RV antifreeze, and then as you push it back down, it's going to pump it in through the system. And again, you'll go circuit to circuit throughout the system,
right,
and make sure that everything is running either pink or orange, depending on the type of antifreeze you're using. And as long as the water is expelled and the antifreeze is in the lines, there's no chance of having any damage from freezing or cracking in the weather. It can take a very small amount of water to actually cause a lot of damage in fittings. Absolutely. And one less thing to do in the spring when you actually have to, get everything set up to go camping again. So it's a little bit of peace of mind.
Yeah, for sure. Especially the kind of Canadian winters we get. It can get very cold, and you never know when it's exactly going to happen.
Yeah,
so.
And then you just, in the springtime, you flush it with fresh water and let it run free, hook up a new filter, and you're back for a season of camping.
Absolutely. We can only hope that this winter weather is going to end soon so we can start enjoying our RV products. And unfortunately, our time here today is ending now. I would like to thank you all for joining us today, for talking about these great RV accessories from Camco. Again, thank you to Camco for supplying us these great products to be able to give away for our today's prize package. And on that note, I would like to congratulate John Trethway. Apologies if I get that last name pronounced incorrectly, but congratulations, John Trethway from YouTube. You are our winner for today. We will contact you in regards to the RV accessory prize package, and I know you're going to enjoy it.
Absolutely.
So thank you again for everybody for joining. Derek, thank you for coming to answer these questions.
Very welcome.
And we're looking forward to seeing you next month. Take care, everybody.